Blue Dragonfly Farm. Love the name. I have met you before, Kristen. We have met. I remember that. That's very distinctive. And then we have Tara McGee. Oh, nice. Very nice on here. We're going to get started in just a minute. We're coming up on 9:30. Give people a few more chance to come in. What we're doing for those that are just joining us, good morning, Lauren and Danielle and Angie. Go ahead and please put into the chat what your industry is. And if you're comfortable putting your full name, that would be great. And your contact information. We love for people to share. So email, phone number. And then in the meantime, too, I will also give you what I'm going to share in a little bit. So you can, because today's going to be very fast paced and lots to learn. So you can go into growth networking. I just put it in the chat.com, and there will be a pop up there, and you can put your email in there, and any questions that we don't get answered today, or if you'd like further trainings, know about that, you'll be able to get on there. So that helps. Good morning, Lauren. Oh, good morning, Barbara. Excellent. There's Tori. Oh, very nice. Tori is in social media and copy design. So she's an amazing person if you need your social media boosted back up. Lauren, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah. Danielle, good. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started here. I think we've got, and Tasha's with us. Thank you, Tasha, for helping us today with the technology. Tasha, I'm going to let you continue. Maybe you can repost in there to put their industries for anybody new that's joining us. You can actually save the chat too. Tasha can talk to us about that at the end, but I'm going to close this so I can see everybody. Okay. And so if you have a question, then what you're going to do is you're going to put it into the chat there. And then what's going to happen at the end, and then Tasha's going to turn around and she will let me see your question at the end. Okay. So can everybody see the screen? Can you give me a nodding? Let me know if it looks good. Okay, good. So good. Hi, everybody. I am Elizabeth Duncan-Hawker, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us today. I am several things. The thing I am known for, though, in my brand is I'm called the Red Hawk. So if you have not bumped into me in person, or if you know me virtually, then when you hear the Red Hawks in the room, that's what they're talking about. I work on growth strategies, and everything I do in my Red Hawk strategic solutions business is all about growth. So growth training, growth networking training is the cue I just put in there for you. That's my website, growthnetworking.com. Let's get you going here. So what you're going to learn today, let's talk about what you're going to learn today. Because if you're like me, you're like, okay, let's get to the facts. Time is important. We're going to talk about your brand promise. And that's a fancy way for saying, what do people know you for? Because you cannot be a magnet in customer service and draw people to you if they don't know what you're about. We're also going to look through the eyes of your customer. What are you known for? How are they seeing you in the community? And then we're going to build your team consensus. So does anybody have employees that work for them? If you do, put into the chat, yes, put in there so that we know if you have staff. If it's just you working by yourself, this is important because you can also do this when you're working with the people that you're trying to get them to that point of being motivated to make you the magnet. We're also going to learn about asking the right questions, and how we're going to do that with our customers is we're going to have some active listening, and we're also going to take a deeper dive on virtually best ways to connect. One of the things I would encourage you to do right now when you get a chance is go into growthnetworking.com, click on when it pops up, put your information, and get the 5 secrets on how you connect on Zoom. That's absolutely free for you, but I want you to know that if we don't get to in depth on the virtual ways to best connect right now, that's going to be very helpful to you. So the first thing I'd like to make sure everybody gets clear on, because when I have trained so many organizations on customer service and how to be a magnet, what I'm hearing out there is there's a big confusion on what is a customer? Who is the customer? I cannot tell you how many times people have said to me, Elizabeth, I'm not in customer service. That's Jack's responsibility. That's Judy's responsibility. I'm just the person in the back office. I'm just the person out there in the field. I'm just the person. They always, so whenever you hear anybody on your team or somebody that's working with you say, I'm just, that's kind of like a red flag that they're not getting who the customer is. This used to happen a lot when I was an executive in the healthcare industry, because I was part of the corporate team and I would have to remind my people, my staff, I'd say, look, we are paid through what's called allocations. Allocations mean that those people's budgets, we were paid out of their budget. They didn't get any choice, kind of like taxes are. So if you think about if you're working for a large organization or if you're working for yourself, it's really important to get clarity up front. Who is my customer? Because, for example, your customer could also be somebody that you're networking with. It could be somebody that's in your office. For example, is your coworker a customer? Absolutely. Because if we're all trying to get to the end result, and that is who we're helping, then yes, then everybody around us is a customer. So I want you to ask yourself, and if you want to take pictures, this is awesome, but ask yourself, who do you serve? So you need to get really super clear on that, because when you have a mentality that I'm not in customer service, or I only serve people that buy from me, that is like the biggest thing that's going to hold you back. So I want you to think about you're training your team. If you have a team, train your team to be a magnet. How are we going to do this? First thing is we're going to give them some grace, and including ourselves. We're going to say, you know what? Nobody ever taught us customer service, just like nobody ever taught us how to network. This is not something, unless you had a different high school than I did, that they lined us up and they said, one day you're going to need to be brilliant at customer service, okay? Because most people thought, well, I'm never going to be in the service industry. So we just went through the clarity why that's so important. But have some grace, because realize that people didn't always sign up for this. One of my best assistants that I had in corporate loved her work. She just was into it. She was so efficient. She just could produce these spreadsheets, tell me who was buying, who was signing up and everything. And she says to me one day, she goes, I love this job except for those customers that keep calling me. Like, that could be a problem, because you were the one that's supposed to answer the phone for us. And so, but I loved her just honestness that flowed through, because I realized, oh, I haven't done a good enough job explaining to her that without the customers and without that phone ringing, she's not going to have a job. I'm not going to be here. So the good news is, I want you to put this on your head that everyone can learn to be amazing at customer service. However, the thing is, they have to be open. They have to have the mentality that, okay, how I'm going to show up, how I'm going to interact, and the awareness that what they're doing is they are there to serve. Once they have that mentality, you're gold. So whether it's you who's a business owner, you who is an employee, or it's you who has a team of people, once you can get to that part, you are golden. Okay, so fix your mind on. Now let's talk about, what do customers or your employees think? So when they think of either the service or the product that you're providing, what's popping into their mind? So you need to ask yourself, what do I think about that? And then I would also say, ask yourself if you're consistent with it. So consistency of the experience is what makes people stay with you or not. It's what pulls them into you as a magnet, or starts making them fade away until they eventually quit you. So I want you to think of, like, for example, your maybe dry cleaner. Okay, your favorite dry cleaner that you're going to go to, and the way that you're treated at the counter, do they recognize you? And maybe we're not dry cleaning now because we've been so at home. Let's try another example. Let's try a restaurant. So when you go to some place that you've frequently gone, you're doing pickup. Are they consistent with the quality of what they're giving you? Are they timely? Or is it that when you're getting your order, you feel like you're just an absent person? So consistency is what's going to get that in there, because your secret sauce, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. It's people need to know you, like you, trust you, like as in trust your business, and they will consistently buy from you, even if your prices are higher. But what they won't stay with you with is if you don't show that you recognize them. So what comes to the mind on the employee or the customer when they start, are your employees recommending? Are they talking about what a great place it is to work there? I know 1 Hour is one of the places that's with us today. And they, for example, that's one of the things they pride themselves on, is that people talk about that. We've got financial planning here. That's one of the companies that their group goes, oh, it's a wonderful place to work with. So down in the lower right-hand corner here, I gave an example. Never underappreciate the value of a thank you. So when your company is being thought of out there in the market, this is how you're being seen in the marketplace, okay? Or how your employees are viewing you. Do they think that you're grateful? So that's a hard question. So for example, the Atlantic Wildfowl Museum, which I renewed my dues, love, love, love what they did. This is what I got in the card in the mail from them. And then they're showing me and telling me how much the support meant to them. Now, does this make me know that I made a good decision sitting there writing that check out? Because I actually thought about this. Gosh, I don't know about whether, do we have the budget to do this? Things are tight, right? We all sit down and do that with our checkbook, but I voted yes with my checkbook, right? So I subscribed. Again, I renewed my dues. I want you to think about that. So when the power of a thank you, if you're torn between what am I going to do first, that would be the first thing I would implement. If you don't learn anything else today, learn the power of gratitude. Because here's the cool thing. This will make you a magnet. Did you know that sharing gratitude actually turns your magnetism on? I know it sounds crazy, but it does. It is proven, and I will show this to you. One of the cool things is when you show gratitude to either a customer or somebody watches you show gratitude, meaning you say something as simple as, thank you so much for choosing to work with me. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for supporting this. Thank you so much for fill in the blank, right? What happens is oxytocin is released within our body, and it's the same surge that we get as if we're having a moment of success. Same thing. It's like, wow, I know I just felt better just saying it. It's just saying those 4 lines. So train your staff or train yourself if you don't have a team, or train the people around you if you're working in an office. Learn to start saying when they hand you something, thank you so much for working on that, Janet. I really appreciate you getting that done in that time frame. It's made my job easier. Or to the customer, thank you so much, Miss Smith, because you got their charge card in front of them. Acknowledge them, call them by the names, but it is contagious. What will happen is it will become part of your culture. It will become part of what you are. So this is a big, big thing. I know it sounds really basic, but this is the biggest thing. And what I put down here at the bottom, and I know, and you can put in the chat, that's me, is how many times have you chosen to go someplace, especially now during pandemic, and you're going someplace and you are choosing, you're opening your wallet, you're paying for something. And I know this happens at the grocery store, and it makes me crazy sometimes because it's like $200. I'm thinking, oh, this is so much money, right? And then they do not say thank you to you. What do you get? Have a good one. Yeah, have a good one. That does not land on people, right? When somebody, and then how many times do we find ourselves thanking somebody for ringing up our stuff or helping us find something in a store? Thank you so much for helping me find that. I would have never got that without you. Okay, so make sure that you are better than that. Make sure you're the one that's showing up and you're thanking your clients, particularly if they're buying a service from you, because I know that can be invisible. They're not standing in front of you. So make sure you're reaching out and thanking them. Okay, good. What's your biggest asset? This is kind of a trick question because I know a lot of them are assets. Anybody want to put in the chat? What are we saying? What do you think your biggest one is? Tasha, what's coming up in the chat? Yes, absolutely. It's employees. It's employees. And why is that so? Because here's the funny part. When I've been helping the organizations and training people, what I'm realizing is the same reason employees quit us is the same reason customers quit us. It's just full of irony. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because today we're talking about how to be a magnet to pull in customers, but I did want to throw this in. So if you want to take a picture of it and make yourself aware, this is really powerful. This is why people leave us, whether it's employees or customers. And you notice the number one things in here is not price. It's not a customer leaving us for price. It's usually because we weren't shown the respect, which I just gave the example of, have a good one. Okay, that's not respecting me. I just gave you $200 or $300 of my money that I worked really hard to, okay? No gratitude in there, lack of recognition. Okay, here's another one. How many times have you talked to somebody on the phone? You've been with that company forever. You're thinking, I know I'm in your database. They act like, and I'm sorry, what was your name again? I'm sorry, could you repeat that? And there's some people, I have colleagues in here and they have difficult names to spell and they're trying to spell it, right? And you're thinking, you have my phone number, you can see it, look it up in your system, recognize who I am. So lack of recognition is just the same thing like with our employees. The other reason they leave us too, customers don't get pulled to us and stay with us and anchor onto us, is it's too much drama to deal with us. It's too hard. I'm on hold forever. I can't talk to a live person. I asked you this, you answered that. It's drama. Right now, especially with what we're going through in the world, we want it to be simple. We want it to be clear. We want people to listen to us. We want them to feel if we're getting frustrated, and we want them to answer our questions. We also want to have, and I don't know if this encourages anybody, but it sounds kind of weird right now, but it's been developing even more so since COVID has hit our environment. We want a sense of belonging. We want a sense to know that, wow, this store, this service, this product, this person, this representative knows me. They want me to come back. They care if I'm happy, that I'm part of something. And they've involved me. They've invited me to something. They've shared some information with me. They want to feel connected, particularly now, even if it's virtual. So don't underestimate the power of belonging in a community when you're trying to figure out how you get your customer in there. And one of the best ways you can do that is to start remembering their names. Super, super critically important. Teach your people to do that if you're not the front line. But once again, like I said, a simple thing like, look them up in the database, know before you get on the phone with them, and have a genuine conversation knowing, thank you so much, Mrs. Jones. You've been with us for over 9 years. We really appreciate you. How can we help you today? See the difference in that versus, is that Jones with a Jones? So, and then the last reason customers leave us, and we've kind of talked about this, is they're overwhelmed. There's too many decisions. Our website's difficult. Dealing with us is difficult. We're not answering the questions. Same thing as employees. Same thing. So if they come away with a really good experience with us, then all of a sudden they feel like, you know what, I want to work with them again. And guess what? That's when the referrals come. That's when the amazing stories get posted on Nextdoor and Yelp and all sorts of apps, and that people share what's happening. Nurturing. Let's talk about nurturing, and I'm going to keep it really real here for you all, okay? Your customers this last year, so that means if you've identified them, or maybe they were prospects, it doesn't have to necessarily be someone you've already engaged and you've connected with, but let's say potentials and customers. Did they feel your love? And I know that sounds hokey, but that's the term I use. It's like, okay, did you love on them? Did you call them? Have they heard from you? Did you write them a card? Did you text them? Have you done anything that is connecting with them so that they know that you know that you're checking in? A simple voicemail is powerful. Angie, who's on here, uses a wonderful service tool, and it actually calls and can leave automated heartfelt messages for people. So Angie, maybe you can put the name of your tool in the chat bar there. And that really helps her stay in touch with people. She doesn't have to personally dial. So have you nurtured them? Because nurturing creates the loyalty. Loyalty creates you as a magnet. That's what pulls people to you. That's what keeps them in there. Okay. The other thing is there's a concept, and here's the, sorry, excuse me. The word is lagniappe right here. Lagniappe. Lagniappe. Lagniappe is, I believe it's Creole, and it's a term that means when somebody gets something from you, you give them more. That's the concept of, I'm going to give you the 13th donut. Remember? So that's the concept. I'm going to give you something else. So when somebody does something with you, especially during this past year, was your gratitude beyond what they expected? Like if they did their service renewal with you, or if they renewed their policy, or if they did an extra booking, or if they showed back up in your shop, or if they renewed their membership, did you give them something extra? So for example, one of my favorite restaurants here locally in Chesapeake is Daikichi. Daikichi, for example, was so thankful that even when their business was closed for us to dine, we knew we needed to support them, and we would show up every Friday. And actually they asked us to change it. It was funny. They said, Friday, we're busy. I said, great. What day is slow? Wednesday. Great. We put them on the calendar and we budgeted. So every Wednesday we were there and they could count on a takeout order from us. They were so thankful for that, that they in turn would put extra things in the bag. And I always felt like they appreciated that extra, me making the extra effort to keep them in business. Okay. So my question is, if you could go back in time, this last 12 months, would you have nurtured on your customers more? If the answer to you is yes, then this is a perfect opportunity to, because guess what? We can still go forward the next 12 months, right? So think about that. One of the things I love is that on customer service. So excellent customer service, for example, and here's some examples. Have you checked in with somebody? Are you a boutique like Taffy, Totally Taffy? She actually shows the items. A local appliance store sells you something, but they'll come fix it. So you're not on speed dial with the manufacturer. Your local eatery creates a special for you. So write down what are your examples. And then I do highly recommend you get Good to Great by Jim Collins. That's one of my favorite books. Jim Collins talks about getting the right people in the right seats and making sure you're in the right seat to make sure that you're doing customer service the right way. So we talked about some of the things that makes you a magnet. Let's talk about how you can fix some of your problems. One of the best things I saw recently was that Chick-fil-A realized our biggest complaint with fast food was that they never gave us the right thing. They fixed that for us, right? Bam. All of a sudden, they became a magnet to us in the industry. What is your brand promise? What is your promise as it relates out in the industry? Remember, your brand promise is how you're showing up and what the customers think of you. Okay, so think about that, because like a boutique cannot always compete on price, but they compete on their service level. They compete on having that relationship. You too can provide boutique service in what you're doing. You have to do that by speaking your brand authentically. You have to make sure that if you have people representing you, that they're speaking your voice. What is the voice? What is if you have a commercial that's playing, do your people that are in the field act like that? Or, for example, and I love Disney characters, are they acting like Mickey Mouse? Everybody loves Mickey Mouse and are personable. Are they acting like Donald Duck? Remember how he was always angry with everybody? So are they Donald Duck on the phone, right? Or are they happy in Mickey Mouse? What is your brand? How does that come across? Are you training others to speak in your tone? Are you speaking in an authentic way that you tell your staff or you tell yourself on a daily basis? Post it. What's important to me with my customers? One of the best ways you can remember this, another tidbit, is you need to work on selling the sizzle, not the steak. So many people that are out there right now in our business, whether you work for somebody or you work for yourself or you're in the academia world or you're in tourism, we want to start telling you how great the steak is. Oh, the cow was raised out west. It's so tender. It's this and that. It means nothing until I get it delivered to me. And that's why in a restaurant, you remember how you're sitting there when we used to be dining out and we go, oh, and you'd hear the crackling of something coming to the table and the excitement. So when you're detailing or talking to people about what you're selling, don't bore them with your features. Talk to them about what you can do. One of the best financial planners will talk about what this is going to do for peace of mind, how it's going to transform and provide security for your family so that you don't have to worry about that. One of the alarm salesmen that was a client of mine that was helping me is he kept going on and on and on about features. And I was like, he was a technical geek, so he loved it. He was making me crazy. Once I got him to flip it and start talking about how my family was going to be safer, how I wasn't going to have to worry about this, how this and that and everything, his whole demeanor changed, his energy changed. So talk through your story, which is your personal brand, why you do this, what your company does, and explain it from a perspective of why it's going to make them better. So for example, when I was in charge of bariatric surgery and orthopedics, they gave me the task to introduce that into a marketplace. What I realized is nobody that was obese wanted to show up and just come to some program. But if I pitched it from a perspective of, are your knees hurting? Are you having trouble sleeping? We can help you with that. It was an entirely different experience, and we would sell out our events all the time. And then they would be curious about, oh, well, maybe that would help me, right? See the difference? So I didn't talk to them about what they thought I was going to talk to them about. I talked about how I could make their life better, which goes into, it's all about your experience. How great is your experience that you're providing for people? This is another good slide. I encourage you to take a picture of, how do you know your experience is good? How do you know it's well? And if you don't know it, then you need to start putting some things in that measure it. Let's talk about leading the experience. Ask yourself these questions. Are you leading the experience? Do you lead it in your business? Do you lead it in your life? Are you a walking billboard for what you believe on? And can your staff describe how you want things to be described about? Those are the things that pull you in to become a magnet. Lead the experience. It's the client's experience, the customer's experience. Because when you stand out, think about when you're walking into a store and you're looking for something and you've got 10 minutes to get in there and 10 minutes to get out, right? And yet nobody will help you. Does that create a raving fan? No. So be the difference. Figure out, like we talked about with the Chick-fil-A experience, what's the thing that's making your customer crazy, and don't do that. Figure out how to stand out among all of the competition. This was funny. If you guys have not heard about this, Google the UK Burger King. A couple of weeks ago, they launched a campaign and it was a disaster. They thought they wanted to recruit more women, and instead they put "women belong in the kitchen" as their campaign. You can't make this stuff up. So did that create my free will and my choice to want to work with them in the UK? No, they missed the mark. So when you're trying to be a magnet, run your ideas past a few of your loyal customers. They'll give you a good idea. Another example here is Blockbuster. Blockbuster made it hard for us. Blockbuster had a terrible return policy. They made it difficult. So what we hated was what Netflix fixed for us. We didn't have to get in the store. We didn't have to return anything. It was right in our hands, right? Netflix responded to something that Blockbuster failed at. One of the biggest things I want you to know too is be careful when you ask your customers what they want, okay? They don't always know. And I'll tell you why. If the Wright brothers had asked their customers what they wanted in transportation, they would have said faster horses. Okay, so it's our job to be creative, look at our competitors, try to figure out how we are supposed to make that different. And ladies and gentlemen, you will become a magnet. People will be going, oh my gosh, that is what Starbucks did years ago because they didn't look at Dunkin' Donuts and go, well, we want to sell coffee and we want to sell treats and we want to be that. They said, people want a place to hang out. People want some technology. And they started looking at how to be. They were creative. They innovated. They were ahead of their time. So ask the ask the questions to your customer, but then also don't sit there think, is that innovative enough or can we do better? And remember Starbucks. So make a note that Starbucks is that for you. Collect testimonials. This is one that was actually, I didn't know this was even being done, but this was a presentation. One of my customers took this picture, put these little good job, tip of the day, posted this out there. That's priceless. Encourage the people you're working with to applaud you. So, and they don't think to do that unless you say to them, if this was valuable, or if I've done a great job, or if they say to you, hey, you know, Kimberly, Barbara, Francine, I really appreciate what you're doing. This was fantastic. Then say, you know what, we love testimonials. So, and make it easy for them to share that. That's one of the most powerful things, because your customers will believe other customers first. That's how you're going to get them to be there. So to build loyal, raving fans, buy into something in the program that makes it really easy for them to work with your staff. Do something that's memorable. And then make sure you tell them you miss them if you haven't seen them in a while. I know that sounds really personal, but when you say to somebody, I have missed talking to you, I have missed, how are you? And you remember anything personal about their life, all of a sudden, then they're like, wow, I'm really glad I called back in. I have actually, this is funny, I actually called in twice to cancel one of my subscriptions to something, and they told me how long I'd been there, what products, and then they offered me free products to try, and they actually upsold me. And I was like, okay, here we go. That's Meaningful Beauty, by the way. It's an incredible company. So so remember ways that you're going to practice your customer loyalty. You're going to work on your experience. And then the small business supplier diversity, I just wanted to give a shout out. They are an example of shattering old expectations. When I called that agency to renew something a couple of weeks ago, I was thinking it's going to be so hard to get somebody on the phone, right? Mental chatter. It's going to be so hard. So this, within 5 minutes, my phone was ringing, and then another person had left me an email with all of the details on how to do my SHWAM renewal. That's how to be a magnet. Am I telling you all this story right now? Yes. And they're commercial. That's what you want when you want to be a magnet. So remember, people are going to research you. They're going to Google you. A website's great. However, it's your people and it's you that makes you the magnet. It's not the website that's going to secure them to buy from you. And it's also nurturing the loyal people that you have and connecting with them and being consistent. It's really important to be consistent, particularly now, this last year. So we have some more trainings coming up. If this is helpful, you're welcome to take a picture of this. I think, Tasha, you were going to put in the chat, maybe you did.
No, I will.
Okay, if you could stick in the chat. So you're welcome to take a picture of that there too. And also, then I gave you the growth networking. Please go to the www.growthnetworking.com. And then you can connect with me that way. The other thing is, here's social media. Love for you to connect with me. I'd love to meet people. Any way I can help you, reach out to me. If you have questions, you can see there's lots of venues. Some people like different things. Love to be part of your life. Anything I can do to help you. Okay, and I know we're wrapping up. This has been so wonderful. Is there any immediate question that just pops into your mind? Because I know that we're closing. You can go to the growthnetworking.com, like I said, and you can make sure that then I will answer your question and you can stay in contact. Yes, you are going to get, you will be able to see the presentation again. This is being recorded, right, Tasha? So you're going to post it. Yeah.
Yes, it will be posted on YouTube.
Excellent. And then also I'll be going through the chat and I can reach out to you all, and you have my information as well. And this has been wonderful. I really appreciated the time. There was so much to share with you. We'll be back April 7th, April 21st. There's more training. I do encourage you to rewatch this video in the meantime so you can anchor that and then share that with your friends. So April 7th, April 21st is coming back up again. And anything I can do to help you. I'm the Red Hawk. I'm Elizabeth Duncan-Hawker, and it's been a pleasure to walk you through how to be a magnet in customer service. Thank you, everyone. Aw, thank you. Love the messages.